So I'm going to call the October 25th, 2021 meeting of the Prudential Committee to order. I'll do roll call.
Kelly, your clerk. Rick Malone, treasurer.
Seth Burdick, Prudential Committee.
Mark Lynch, Prudential Committee.
Fran Parks, Prudential. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. So. This fucking thing. Well, no, I've lost everything. Yep. So. All right. The first thing are the minutes from September. Did you have a chance to review those?
I did.
Martin?
I have not. When were they sent?
Unfortunately, they were sent later today, so we can hold off on those till our next meeting.
Okay.
That's fine.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah. And, all right, next, is there any public comment?
Yes, Cynthia Gardner, 94 School Street. Can you hear me? Hello? Lisa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Cynthia, I can hear you, but we're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay, well, I'll just make it quick. I sent all committee members an email this afternoon after I spoke with Fran regarding my open meeting law complaint. If you could please look at those emails and respond, because you're all equally responsible for abiding by open meeting law, and I was confused by her response. Thank you.
What'd you say?
Cindy sent emails to Seth and I today,
Yes.
indicating that she had not received a response to the open meeting law, which
Yes.
is the first I had known about that. I suggest that we go into executive session very briefly to discuss that.
She got one this afternoon. I sent a response.
Okay.
She called me.
Okay.
Okay.
So Ms. Gardner, has your issue been resolved then, that you now have a copy of the response to the open meeting law complaint?
She doesn't have a copy of what was sent to the open meeting law people, because that discussed the executive session, which, but I sent her a response explaining why she didn't have a copy of that, because that's the whole point.
Then I suggest we go into brief executive session to discuss that issue. I'm so move.
Well, can we wait till we go into executive session at the end?
I don't think it's going to take long to discuss that issue.
I mean, I don't mind. Is it clunky in terms of signing everybody off and then signing them back on?
Oh,
That's my only concern with it.
In that, Seth has just indicated that if we go into an executive session now, everyone will have to sign off and sign back in. So I'm okay with waiting until the end of the session to go in end of this meeting, that is, to go into executive session. Let's leave it at that for now.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sure everyone knows that the chief is retiring.
Right.
Yeah, and his last day is going to be November 15th, correct? Yes.
19th, did you say?
Oh, 19th, sorry. I keep saying the 15th.
So 3 weeks roughly, or relatively, just about a month, right? What day is today? 25th.
25th, yeah. So
Do I understand the deputy chief is also retiring?
he has retired.
He has retired.
He's gone. So we can do the treasurer's report, and everyone else should mute their mics, please.
Yeah, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I passed around a revised statement. There were some corrections that I had made back on the expenditure page, which flowed up to the front page for the prior year. And it changed some of my explanations. So with that in mind, taking a look at the revenue first, the tax collections are on budget, but lower than last year. And it's really across the board, current year and prior year. Although I'd have to say, after looking at prior year, the collections were so robust last year that there is little left to collect. So we'll probably run that negative variance through the year. But we are on budget, which is the important point at this stage of the game. The water department continues the high usage that we saw last year. As I say on the page, I don't know if this is the new normal or not. Obviously, the rates were intended to dampen demand for water, but it seems to have done exactly the opposite. It's good news in terms of the overall budget performance and free cash, but it is a little different than what we've seen in the past. The fire department is also on budget, and I'd say my comments again are backwards. It's not a decline from last year. It's actually a slight increase from the current year. And finally, this year we got the COVID grant receipts, which came in July, which really related to expenses that we had incurred last year and earlier than that. On the expenditure side, basically, we're all in budget. At this stage of the game, there is nothing unusual to bring to your attention. The insurance is up about 5.9%, but from what I've seen in the public media, that is not unusual and is going to be kind of the story this year for not only us, but all homeowners, as I just recently learned. The fire department is showing a decrease in salary, but that's a timing difference due to the payrolls from one year to the next. They don't quite fall in the same sequence. Expenses are lower due to lower maintenance expenses in the fire department in F22. In the water department, the salaries are lower due to the turnover. We lost the assistant superintendent last year, and he was replaced by a new staff member, that pay differential results in a decline in year-over-year wage comparison. On the expense side, there's been a substantial increase in water department expenditures, and that's due to an increase in the maintenance, which is probably catch up from what we have seen in the decline in COVID last year. And so we would anticipate that that would continue through the year as the water department catches up with its maintenance requirements. The Freedom Hall is again low on salaries and low on expenses because of COVID, not being able to get the staff in and therefore get some of the work done. Streetlights are almost on budget when you take into account encumbrances from last year, but again, well below budget at this point in the year. Benefits, while they appear to be over budget, it's simply due to the one-time retirement pay, as pointed out on the expenditure page. Transfers are actually being done tomorrow. Those will be completed this week. And the library was done earlier in the year. Any questions on the expenditures or revenue month to date, or year to date, excuse me?
Great. What is the target percentage?
The target is that percentage of the budget that we should hit. In 3 months, it would be 1/4 or 25%. I think in the earlier one of the corrections that I had to make was it went out with 17%.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's correct.
That was one of the corrections. Yeah. I met as part of a board member with the Cape Cod Community Health Group, and really three things of note. They published the retiree insurance rates for calendar 2022, and they range in from 0 to 5.9% for the supplement plans that we provide for our retirees. The other thing of note was the fact that expenditures for the health group have not increased as anticipated in the post-COVID increase that everyone thought would happen. As a consequence, the health group still plans to implement the December premium holiday. And by that, they will skip a bill for the December bill. When we put the budget together, we did not anticipate that. So we should be generating a favorable variance in medical insurance from December on. And then finally, although I don't have any of the details on it, there was a rather, in my view, exciting program that the health group is going to institute, which will provide basically, if you will, case management for our members and more importantly, for our retirees. Anyone who incurs a serious illness will have the Pinnacle program available to them. The program is called the Pinnacle program. And that program provides monitoring, basically case management through the illness for people. And I believe this is a very positive thing for our retirees. Well, it's got to actually be approved, but I would anticipate that it's going to start either late this year or early next year. But really in a very positive contribution for our members and retirees. That's all I had.
Any other questions for Ray?
Oh, one other thing we should talk about is the tax classification meeting. We have it tentatively scheduled for November 3rd, I believe.
The third, I thought it was the 6th.
6th, I'm sorry, you're right, the 6th. I met with the newest assessor today and learned from Charlie that they haven't even got their numbers approved yet. But we should be in a position of confirming that date. We have a conflict at the original 6 o'clock time. They have another meeting at 4 o'clock in Hyannis. So the next available time that they are offering me on the 6th is 2 o'clock.
This is November 6th?
Yes.
That's a Saturday. Right, that's a Saturday?
No, it should be, it's a Monday.
November 8th?
It's the
The
8th.
8th?
That's the date my calendar's supporting my, my little TV here, so I can't get it.
6 p.m. November 8th, Monday, November 8th.
Monday, November 8th, right. Thank you.
They don't want to do it.
So we can't do 6 o'clock unless we did it at the fire station, as we have done before. It makes it for very limited taxpayer participation, but it hasn't been a sellout in recent years in any case.
Ray, can you explain to the uninitiated, like me, what the, or just repeat that, can you explain to me what the tax classification meeting is?
Basically, we set the rate and we determine whether we are going to have a single or multiple rate. Multiple rate would be for residential and commercial. Since we have very limited commercial, it has historically been the determination of the Prudential Committee to go with a single rate, and then that rate sets the tax rate for the district.
And this meeting includes whom?
I'm sorry?
Who attends this meeting?
The assessor, the town assessor.
Okay.
And he has just recently been appointed. Charlie tells me he's a gentleman from Concord who's just taken the job. I think today was his first day. I can't give you any information on the tax rate because they have not entered the values. Although he said he was loading the values, which would mean that he's got it improved.
Well, I got an email from Bob,
From Rick?
from Rick. And in that email, he said the only reason they be postponed is if DOR didn't approve the rates.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. He said he was loading the rates. I can't tell you what confirmed the tax rate until they load the rates on. We put all our budgetary information on the site. But until I get the values, if you will, the denominator, we have the numerator, I can't give you the rate yet. But I will have that obviously before the meeting and be able to share that with you along with some history so you can see what the perspective is before going into that meeting.
Okay.
It's not unusual that we have this, if you will, photo finish for the meeting.
So My preference would be to do a Zoom meeting without meeting here, so that anybody in the public could be on it, and the recording of it would be crystal clear.
Okay, they were open to either Zoom or in person.
I would prefer that as well. I will not be in town on the 8th.
Yeah. As long as we can get a copy of the materials, you know, prior to the meeting, yeah, so we can study those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will make that point now then.
All set? Great, thank you. Streetlights, in November of 2020, is when, no, that doesn't seem right. The streetlights were changed. February, in 2014. And the company that maintains the streetlights for us is Siemens. In November of 2020, we got a letter from Siemens saying that they were going to be splitting apart their business, and forgot the name of the company. Unix was going to be taken over. Well, we got the streetlights market through Cape Light Compact. So they're essentially the changeover was cost-free to the district, and it has significantly decreased our costs. So we've been getting periodic updates from the Cape Light Compact about Unix and the Siemens split. Well, at the end of this month, our contract with Siemens is going to be up, and the Unix split has not occurred. So the lawyer for the Cape Light Compact does not think any of us should sign the agreement that they originally sent us about the split off of the company, but to go ahead and just renew with Siemens alone for the next 2 years. So they sent out an email asking everyone to do that, and I went ahead and agreed to the renewal. So all the towns on Cape Cod have not signed the new agreement, but have renewed. So
The only difference would be that it's a different company, Unix rather than Siemens. When and if that happens, and I don't think that's really clear. That's the problem. It's very muddy. So that's why. But we won't have, when and if that occurs, we won't have a problem just switching to Unix.
Hopefully not, no,
Okay.
if and when it ever occurs. The Zoom meetings, this is one of the attempts at trying to see if we can do better sound with the Zoom meeting. So we'll have to find out what this recording is going to be like. Separating people, only have one person speak at a time, have the mics off when somebody is speaking so the mics don't pick up other speakers. Hopefully we'll help with the echoes. I'm going to try and meet with Jerry, who is our person from Charlie's Music, we've dealt with the speaker system, and see if he has any other ideas to clear up the sound. Anybody got any terrific suggestions about clearing up the sound?
No. Are people this evening able to hear, Lisa? Or? Okay, I'm unmuted. I was just asking whether you can tell if people can hear.
There's a lot of reverberation.
Okay. Still.
Yeah, so, and then Freedom Hall, the safety gates at, on one side of the stairs going down to the basement, somehow got pulled apart. So that needs to be repaired. One of the pieces of bluestone out at the front door is loose and that needs to be fixed. And one of the window cords, the sash cord has, broken. So I contacted David Kurt and he's gonna do those repairs for us. He's done repairs here before.
Okay.
So take care of that. And so that's, anything else anybody has?
Not for me.
Not for me.
Okay. Is there any public comment?
Yes. Cynthia Gardner, 94th Street. Fran, could you let me know the date you signed that contract with the light company?
So I don't see anything in the chat. So, I just wanted to briefly mention, the water department has suggested, the chairman of the water commissioners has suggested that, they use, some of their funds, to check out the oil tank at the school. They have money for that and use their engineers to make sure if they're to check for any leaks. And that's because it's a zone of contribution. They have the funds to do it and they can do it because it's a zone of contribution to that well.
The question was whether this was kind of within their usual bailiwick, so to speak, or specifically related to the possible acquisition of the school. I'm persuaded that whether the school is acquired or not, it's
in their bailiwick.
Should be assessed to ensure the quality of the water. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, so we're going to go into executive session now. Could I have a motion?
I move that we go into executive session.
You have to read this.
I move we go into executive session under purpose 6 to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. The committee will not return to public session. I would also request that we go into executive session to discuss the response to the open meeting law violation. Complaint. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
So a roll call vote, Mark?
Aye.
Seth?
Aye.
Fran Parks, aye. Okay, thank you.